Okay. Um, Obviously that's a very good football team, and once again, credit Kirby, his staff, his team. Um, they're the number one team in the country for a reason. They've worked extremely hard in all areas. They're a very complete football team in all areas. They play very well. I am proud of the response of our football team. The way it was very difficult, as you can imagine, this season. Tough games, some tough losses. There's some ups, there's some downs. I think you can look around our league. You can see there's a lot of us in a very similar situation. That through the 12 games, that there's going to be some highs and there's going to be some lows, and it's extremely challenging. And after a tough loss a week ago, getting them motivated and to compete and play at a high level and reinvest to the commitment that it takes to go compete with a team like this took a lot of digging and soul searching and the competitive nature of our players to reinvest and commit and put in that kind of effort, and came up short, and but the effort was there, the preparation was there. Need to execute a little better. In the first half, we had an opportunity to at least get 3. Then again, another missed field goal. You have a chance to be 16-13, and you have an opportunity. And we know it's a real challenge either way, whether you get them or not. It's no sure thing. But we put ourselves in position. I'd like to see us execute a little cleaner in the red zone, get points when we can get points, and again try to capitalize on getting the ball in the end zone. Pretty impressive 99-yard drive. That was good response by our team. It was a great fourth down stop by our defense. It just showed some guts and determination, and some of the personality of the way we play, and that piece of it, I can be proud of the team, the way they compete. We got to regroup. Big game coming up here this week, with a rival. So,
Mark, you had, I think, 4 red zone stops in defense where you held them out of the end zone at least. What does that say about that group, even playing without DeAndre and Jacquez and so many of your veteran leaders you usually depend on?
I really appreciate them, digging in like that, because it's hard. That is a physical football team. That's creative with their dynamic tight ends and run game, and the way they create explosives down there and score touchdowns down there. And I thought the guys really competed and played hard. When it comes down to it, yeah, there was a good coaching, good scheme by Brad and the defense staff, but ultimately the players showed some guts and determination in some critical short yardage plays against one of the most physical teams in the country, if not the.
Mark, did you think that you could have some success in the pass game going into this, or is it just as the game started to play out and start going?
Well, you do. You got to be careful, as you know, with drop back and the way these guys can rush and pressure and getting your quarterback under duress, and so you got to pick your spots. And we finally hit some big plays and had them set up at the right time, right moment, got the protection and good throw and hit them. And a couple opportunities, at least one PI that I remember also, but had our shots and hit some, and it gave us an opportunity. And you have to against a defense like that, because just to constantly, grind it out, 3, 4, 5 yards at a time, it's going to be difficult. So you have to try to create some explosives.
Mark, what about Vanion's game? 10 catches, 145 yards and a touchdown.
I didn't realize it was 10. Yeah, I mean, I know that's impressive, and again, I thought he really responded well. And youngsters, it's that talented, and you're going to have some moments, some games where it's like this, and some games where it's very tough, and you have to respond either way. So, pretty impressive by him. I saw, just some of the competitive catches down the field were really good to see and stuff to build on.
You got 6 turnovers for Will now in the red zone this year. Is there anything in particular that is showing up in those moments for him?
I can't put the exact finger on it. I think he tried to, fit one in there, and it's tough the way they're playing there and they're doubling and you know, there's short windows in there, you know, and in hindsight, that's one I'd like to try to split and hit a run, and then if I do that, everybody's like, you're an idiot, you know what I mean, so, but,
It was exciting to see Will running again. Was that intentional and part of a game plan?
it was, just reads, you know, wasn't, the one he kept was a read, on the one I'm thinking of, but, you know, it was good just to keep him honest a little bit, you know, when you can't do that, then you let him chase it down from behind all the time, and you had to slow him down and keep him honest a little bit, and that helped a little bit in getting Chris even on 3-4 yard runs sometimes against a defense like that, instead of 0 yard gain or negative yardage, you know, so the threat of that helps you a little bit.
Mark, 4 of the 5 guys who got passes tonight are freshmen. What does that just say about the future of the offenses we're all talking about, what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we know that there's some really talented players there and some good players, you know, and so, you know, we're in this moment now, you know what I mean, and so I'd like to stay right here, you know, and I just was accused of hyping up this team in the summer. I don't need to start hyping up this next, you know what I mean? I need to stay right here and this football team and getting this team ready, and that's what I told our team, like, you know, reinvest, you know, get some rest tonight and be ready to go and reinvest with that kind of attitude, you know, all week, with a very important game coming up here this week on senior day. So, you know, that's what I'd like to see out of our whole team.
You have another bad snap hold kick. Do you have to reevaluate
Yeah,
if you use them?
yeah, I mean, what do I say? I mean, it's not good. I mean, now that anybody can see. You know, that doesn't, I have no good answer. You know, we do it all the time. We have multiple people do it, you know, yeah, it's not good, it's no good.
Mark, is Tavion Robinson hurt? It looked like he had his helmet.
He
on the
is, he was
sideline.
banged up, he was, not 100%.
Was Kenneth Horsey her also?
He was, he had, a situation before the game. I'll address it Monday. Please don't speculate on anything. All the preliminary tests that we got back seem to be very positive. I'll address it when I get more information. I'm glad the preliminary information seems to be okay.
And the offensive line played pretty well today.
They did, and I thought DeAndre, stepped up, and I heard Eli kind of rounding the troops up there, and they kind of patting him on the back because of his preparation. And we didn't know that Kenneth wouldn't play until, I didn't know until 30 minutes before the game. But the way he prepped and the way he stepped in and filled in and did a good job. And that's something for all youngsters to build on, all guys that are in a backup role. And all of a sudden you're thrown in and starting against the #1 team in the country. And it seemed that he played pretty solid.
Mark, obviously you wanted to win the game, but considering the way the defense played and the way the offense moved the ball, especially late in the game, is this something you feel like you can build on for going into
I definitely do. I mean, I think you and I know, I don't need to take a shot for a moral victory, but we all know the difference between putting something where you prepare and play and compete compared to not, and that, the results are the results sometimes. We compete in a very difficult conference against some of the best, if not, I believe, the best, team facing the country right there. It's about, how you prepare, how you play, how you compete, what we do to put them in position. And, I thought there were some good things, and I thought the coaches, put them in good position, and, it's going to be difficult. But I was proud of our team's effort, both in their preparation and their response to adversity all week, because it's very easy to cave. And that's the kind of response I would expect. And that's the kind of response when we're competing against guys like Kirby, who's competed against me for years and years, he would expect from our team. And our team needs to understand that's what people expect from our team. You know what I mean? That we don't cave. We've done some things right, we've done some things wrong. but that's the way this team, this program plays. And we gotta get back to being that all the time, and competing like that all the time.
Mark, with those kicking game woes, they kind of build upon themselves, and it's, the mental aspect plays
They
such a
do.
big role. Have you thought about maybe getting a psychologist or
Yeah,
somebody?
yeah, they do. I think it's fair. You know, it definitely does. You know, it definitely does. You know, I'm a terrible golfer, you know, but if I miss a 3-footer, that next one's in my head. You know, and so it's kind of like the kicking, I'm sure it is part of it, you know, so.
Anyone else?
When you mentioned like the players, having something to be proud about, like, did you see that from them today at post game in the locker room? Because like they did lose their second straight game, but you said there's still like room for improvement. So did you see the sort of like takeaways that you're talking about now with us? Did you see that from them? Or did you see them hanging as early?
They know when they put on the film whether that's something to be proud of or not. I'm not going to give you a headline. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's interested in going and celebrating because we played close.
Right.
But yes, they know the difference between a prideful effort and one that's not. I don't think it takes much to figure that out. You know what I mean? And our guys know that they need that kind of commitment, that kind of investment, and that kind of competitive nature all the time.
Mark, on those stops on short yard, especially late in the game, I know you have to look at the film for sure, but you feel like it was your defensive line
I
being
do.
stout in those
I think it's a
positions?
big piece of it. You know, I mean, that's what it came down to. And we discussed, over there, because Georgia's deadly on their boots and everything because of their tight ends and all that. And I said, no. You know what I mean? Like, they throw a boot, it's on me. But we're going to stay big and we're going to stay firm in there. And I wasn't going to let them give them that. And so we discussed it, and Brad had a good defensive plan, but we talked about switching it to a defense where you could not be maybe as firm, but be better on boots or be better, and I had a feeling with Kirby's mentality. You know what I mean? You get stopped on 3rd and 1, it's 4th and 1. They're the number 1 team in the country. I felt like they were going to try to jam it right down our throat, and I was really surprised. Pleased with our defensive effort there. Yes, up front.
Vandy beat Florida, SEC.
I mean, I know people don't believe me, and you know what I mean. But again, look, I don't know, but I know just with that and different things. I mean, and that's what I've told our team. Like, don't be defeated, don't be down. Like, we're not proud of that effort. You know what I mean? A couple weeks ago, but like, what did it do? 9 teams in the SEC. Do we all cave? No. There's some teams that are elite, that are playing at a really high level. Good. They deserve the recognition that they're getting, and they're really good. And they pieced it all together, and then there's a lot of teams that are fighting our tails off, and it's challenging. And I can say this, that the guys emptied their tank this week, both in preparation and competing, and that's what we have to do all the time.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, have interviews over in the dining hall.